Then, while it was still early in the morning, the Jews led Jesus away from Caiaphas over to the praetorium and delivered him up to Pilate the governor. Now they all wanted to eat the Passover meal, so to avoid ceremonial defilement they did not go in. Annas, Caiaphas, Simmas, Dathius, Gamaliel, Judas, Levi, Naphtali, Alexander, Jairus, and all of the other Jews started charging Jesus with a whole range of offenses. So Pilate went out to them and requested, "What is the precise charge that you are bringing against him?" "We would not have brought him here to you," they responded, "if he were not a criminal." Then they started accusing him, saying, "We found this man to be undermining our nation, forbidding that taxes be paid to Caesar. We know for a fact," they insisted, "that this man is the son of Joseph the carpenter, and that he was born of Mary, but claims to be the Messiah, the Son of God, and a king as well. And as if that were not enough, he desecrates the Sabbath day and seeks to do away with the law of our fathers." Then Pilate questioned them, "And what things does he do that shows he wants it done away with?" "In our law," the Jews replied, "it says that no healing should be done on the Sabbath. But this man, by his evil ways, has healed the lame, the crippled, the withered, the blind, the paralyzed, the deaf, and the demon-possessed, all upon the Sabbath day." "And in what way are these actions evil?" Pilate asked. "He is a sorcerer," they retorted. "It is through none other than Beelzebub that he casts the evil spirits out. They are all at his command." "What you say cannot be true," Pilate answered. "No filthy spirit can cast out another. Only the gods can do that." "Your Excellency," the Jews bid Pilate, "we implore you, please take him and try him yourself before your court." And Pilate called him near and asked, "Since I am but a governor, explain to me how I am supposed to interrogate a king." "Now hold on right there," they said. "We never said that he was a king, only that he claims to be one." Then Pilate called his messenger over and directed him, "Give Jesus a proper escort into this place." So the messenger went right out, and as soon as he saw that he was the Christ, the messenger worshipped him. Then he took his cloak in hand and spread it out on the ground below. Then the man addressed him thus, "Lord, the governor is summoning you, so please pass across this as you enter." But when the Jews saw how the messenger had acted, they denounced Pilate, demanding, "Why did you send this herald out to call him in, and not a bailiff instead? For as soon as this messenger laid eyes on him, he worshipped him, spreading his cloak upon the ground and asking him to walk across it as though he were some kind of king." Then Pilate called for the messenger and questioned him, "Why did you spread your cape on the ground and have Jesus pass over?" "Lord Governor," replied the messenger, "when you sent me over to Alexander in Jerusalem, I saw this man seated on a donkey, and the children of the Hebrews were carrying branches in their hands and making a commotion. And other people were spreading their own clothes out before him and proclaiming, 'You who rest in the highest, rescue us now. Praises to the one who comes bearing the Lord's name.'" "The children of the Hebrews were crying out in Hebrew," the Jews called out to the messenger. "So how could you, who speak Greek, possibly have understood what they said?" "I simply asked one of the Jews," the messenger replied, "What is this that they are shouting out in Hebrew?" And he interpreted it for me. Then Pilate demanded, "And just what were they crying out in Hebrew?" "Hosanna, Membrome, Baruchama, Adonai," the Jews answered. "And just how do Hosanna and all of those other words translate?" Pilate asked. "You who rest in the highest, rescue us now," conceded the Jews. "Praises to the one who comes in the name of the Lord." Then Pilate asked them, "If you admit that these are the words that the children spoke, then why are you faulting this messenger?" And none of them could say a thing. Then the governor bid the messenger, "Go out and bring him back in any way that you see fit." At this, the messenger went right out and did as he had done before, saying to Jesus, "Lord, the governor is summoning you. Please come inside." And as he was going in, Jesus passed by the ensigns who were holding the standards up. Then the images at the tops of the standards started of themselves to bow down and worship him. And when the Jews saw what those images had done, bowing themselves in worship to Jesus, they clamored against the standard bearers. But Pilate asked them, Are you not amazed that the images bowed down and worshipped Jesus? We saw the standard bearers lowering them in reverence to him, the Jews answered Pilate. Then the governor called the ensigns over and demanded, Why have you done this? We are all Greek, they said, and servants of the temples. Why would we worship him? We were trying to hold the images up, but they bowed down and worshipped him on their own. Then Pilate ordered the synagogue rulers and the elders, Pick out some strong men to support the standards, and let us all see if the images lower themselves then. So the Jewish elders chose the 12 strongest men and had them hold the standards up, and they stood in groups of 6 before the bar of the governor. And Pilate instructed the messenger, Walk him out of the praetorium, and come back in with him any way that you like. Jesus and the messenger then left the hall. Pilate then summoned the ensigns who had held the standards with the images up the first time and informed them, I have sworn by Caesar's life that if the standards do not bow down when Jesus comes in, I will have your heads chopped off. And the governor ordered Jesus to enter in a second time. So the messenger did as he had before, inviting Jesus to walk across his cape. He stepped across and went inside, and as he was going in, the standards fell down in reverence to him, even as they had before. And when Pilate saw this, he was stunned, and nearly got up out of his seat. And even as he was coming to terms with this, his wife, who was some distance away, sent him this message, Do not get mixed up with this honorable man, because last night I agonized much over a dream I had about him. And Pilate, calling the Jews before him, said, You know that my wife is devout, and that she is every bit the practicing Jew that you are. Then they replied, We are all aware of that. Look, said Pilate, my wife just now sent this message to me. Do not get mixed up with this honorable man, because last night I agonized much over a dream I had about him. Did we not say that he was a sorcerer? The Jews replied. You see, he was the one who sent your wife that dream. Then Pilate called for Jesus and asked, What are these men testifying against you? Will you not have your say? They would not be saying anything at all had they not been given the power to do so, Jesus replied. Everyone has the ability to bring about either good or evil with the power of the tongue. They will therefore see to it. Then the Jewish elders challenged Jesus. And just what ought we to see anyway? All of us know, first of all, that you were born through fornication. Second, that your birth brought about the slaughter of the children of Bethlehem. And third, the reason that your father and mother, Joseph and Mary, had to run away into Egypt was because the people all hated them. But some of the more fair-minded among the Jews who were standing nearby spoke up. We do not agree that his was an illegitimate birth, because we know for sure that Joseph was betrothed to Mary, and it therefore did not constitute fornication. Then Pilate said to the Jews who had alleged that Jesus was born out of wedlock, Your charge is baseless, because there had been a betrothal by then. Even your fellow countrymen say that. Annas and Caiaphas then answered Pilate, All of us here maintain that his birth was through fornication, and you still do not believe us? These are disciples and proselytes of his. Then Pilate called Annas and Caiaphas to himself and said, Tell me, what are proselytes? Proselytes, they explained, are people who were born to Gentile parents and convert to Judaism. Then Lazarus, Asterius, Antonius, James, Amnes, Charis, Samuel, Isaac, Phineas, Crispus, Agrippa, and Judas, the ones who had vouched for his legitimacy, contended, None of us are proselytes. We are all of Jewish heritage and are telling you the truth, for we were there at the betrothal of Joseph and Mary. Pilate then called these 12 who denied that he was born of fornication over to himself and said, I order you to swear by Caesar's life that your claim that his birth was not of fornication is true. But they all answered Pilate, We are forbidden by our law ever to swear, because for us to do so would be a sin. You ought to have them swear on Caesar's life that it is not as we have said, and we will accept the penalty of death. Pilate then questioned Annas and Caiaphas, Will you not respond to these things? Annas and Caiaphas answered Pilate, You are crediting these 12 men who hold that he is legitimate, even though we, And the crowd assembled here are clamoring that he was born through fornication, that he practices sorcery, and that not only does he claim a kingship for himself, but then goes on to say that he is God's son, and we are given no credence? Pilate then ordered the entire crowd to leave, except for the 12 men who denied that he had come through fornication. And after ordering that Jesus be taken out of earshot, he asked them, "Why are they so anxious to have him executed?" "They cannot accept the way that he performs his healings on the Sabbath day," they replied. Pilate then asked, "Do you mean that these men want to kill him for doing a kindness?" "That is indeed the case," they answered him. And Pilate, growing indignant, left the praetorium and announced to all who were assembled there, "As the Son is my witness, I do not find any guilt in this man." "We would never have handed him over to you if he were not a criminal," the Jews replied to the governor. At that point, Pilate declared, "Take him to yourselves, therefore, and judge him as your law directs." Now, in order to bring to pass the word that was spoken by Jesus, prefiguring the kind of death that he would suffer, the Jews responded, "It is unlawful for us to put a man to death." And Pilate asked them, "Did your God intend for that command to apply to you alone and not to me?"